Well, when Denny gets back, we'll start it up.
What happened this week is I had an almost and he just gave it this to me, so I'm breathing again, which is ridiculous.
I haven't put in the computer. Also been on the run, but not through.
Can I just skim through it?
Oh yeah, my thing is a touch screen.
Oh, okay.
You ready? Okay, I'd like to call to order this meeting of the Hartford Select Board on Tuesday, March 12th, 2024 at 6:01 p.m. Our first item of business is the Pledge of Allegiance. Would anyone like to lead us? John?
Allegiance to the flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, John. All right, so we'll actually close this portion of the Hartford Select Board and open as the local liquor control board. Consider a number of renewals just for the new board members. Education on this, generally when we do renewals or reappointments, people do not have to show up for an initial license or an initial appointment to a board. We ask for them to come in. Just a couple things. So a first class license is a license to sell beer and wine on premises, like at the bar. Third class license is to sell spirituous liquors on premises at a bar. And a second class license is a license to sell wine and beer for takeaway, like from a convenience store, just so you have some sense of what we're looking at. But our first item is to consider the renewal of Phnom Penh Sandwich Station LLC, 7 North Main Street, WRJ, and that's a license of the first class. There was info in your packet on that.
In fact, I'm sorry, I am going to surrender my license, but I have not done it yet, so I'm going to have to recuse myself.
Okay,
But hopefully by next meeting I will.
Absolutely. Any discussion on this one? If not, I'll take a motion. Someone would like to make one?
I will move to approve the first class license of Phnom Penh Sandwich Station.
The whole thing, so approve the renewal of Phnom Penh Sandwich Station, like read that whole 2 lines.
Very good. My
Sounds
apologies.
good. No worries.
I'd like to move to approve the renewal of Phnom Penh Sandwich Station LLC at 7 North Main Street, White River Junction, 500-05001. That license is of the first class.
Great. Do I have a second?
Oh, I'll second, that's easy.
All right.
Okay.
We got a second. Sue, any discussion on this? If not, all those in favor say aye. Opposed? So it looks like 5-0-2. With Kim abstaining and Mary's absence.
So 5. Yeah.
5
Yes,
yeas,
that's right, okay.
0 nays,
Thank you.
2,
Thank you.
an absence and an abstention.
Yep.
All right, the next item is the renewal of Summit Stores, doing business as 3 Cat Cafe. That's a first class, second class, third class tobacco license and a tobacco endorsement. Tobacco endorsement is a license to sell vaping products. Any discussion on this one? None, I'll take a motion.
I'll try it.
Okay.
Okay. I move that we move forward the renewal of the Summit Stores LLC DBA 3 Cat Coffee, 18 and 42 Sykes Mountain Avenue, White River Junction, Vermont, 0501001. It's the first class, second class, and third class license. Is that with a tobacco and tobacco endorsement?
Yep, that is
We
correct.
want all that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second from Ida. Any discussion? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, I think it's the same vote as the last time, John. Our last item, the local liquor control board is considering the renewal of some stores doing business as Quechee Mobile. That's a second class tobacco and tobacco endorsement. Any discussion on that? I'll take a motion.
Well, practice. Okay.
Okay,
I
great.
move to renew the Summit Stores LLC DBA Quechee Mobile at 3479 Woodstock Road, White River Junction, Vermont 05001. It's a second class license with tobacco and tobacco endorsement.
All right, great. Have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second from Sue. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, great. Now we will end our time together as the local liquor control board and reopen this time as the local cannabis control board to consider the approval of a cannabis license for the tea house. Yep, if you'd like to come up, if you have anything to say, please do so.
I don't have anything to say. I just know unlike the liquor licenses that we do need to be here in person.
Great. Any questions on this one? Any discussion? Glenn?
I'm confused about an application for approval. I mean, doesn't it just renew?
I had to submit a new application, essentially a renewal every year. So technically it was December that our renewal was up, but the CCB is just behind, so they extended my license through.
But it has to be an approval every year versus a renewal?
I think they're using the word the same way.
Okay, that
whether
just
it's
doesn't make
approval or-
sense, so.
It sounds more like a renewal, but their language says approval.
Okay, all right, I'll make a motion.
Okay, great.
Make a motion, we approve the application of S0000005836 Tea House LLC for cannabis license in the town of Hartford.
A second?
We have a second from Kim. Any discussion on this one? And seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, so it's like 601 on that one, John.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. All right, we'll close our time as the Cannabis Control Board and reopen as the Hartford Selectboard. Order of agenda, just note that we're considering the appointment of Sara Campbell to H40. She can't get here till 7, so if we move along swiftly enough, we may just table that until she shows up. Then on the consent agenda, my understanding is we do not need to approve the payroll or the AP manifest in this motion, just the meeting minutes. So
That's correct.
great. Okay.
And meetings also.
Yep. Okay, so that's the order of agenda. We'll move to public comment. So public comment, we'll start with people in the room and then move to people who are joining us by Zoom, if any. If you'd like to comment, please come up to the microphone and identify yourself and me and town and village of residents. You'll have 5 minutes to speak. There's a timer up here so you can keep track. Please, no personal attacks and address the select board as a whole. So Dave.
Good evening. My name is David Briggs, White River Junction. I'd like to welcome the new board members, Sue and Ida and Brandon. Good work and thanks for standing up. I've been going through a routine here for the last month or so to introduce the board and to continue to layer on facts and observations of my determination to function as a pre-developer in pursuit of redevelopment of the Coolidge block in downtown White River. There is an expansive narrative on that for you newcomers, and it's on record, and so you can read that over. I encourage you to do that. My update for tonight is that I met with the Planning Commission formally on their agenda last night and made the same appeal to them that I did to you, which was to say, here's a project that's really expansive, impactful, complicated, uncertain, and all of those factors that I'm going to attempt to do, or now attempting to do. And I see this as a collaborative thing because we all will be impacted, and my contention is we'll all benefit from it. Let's approach it that way as opposed to reacting. And I felt very good about the response that I got from the Planning Commission last night. And the interesting thing that came out was John Reed, the chairman, turned to me and he said, well, what do you think about how to manage this process through the town, particularly in the spirit that you're suggesting? which is to say we work collaboratively. So we talked about that briefly, and he made the suggestion that I look at this from a perspective of working through the town manager's office, at least to see where that takes us. And John wasn't there, so he doesn't know that he was called out to be a volunteer in this, but I like that idea. I think that's the right office to start with. Kim was present, she could add some comments to that, but that's my update. I'm ever more energized. I felt like the response that I got last night was just what this project needs. So that's my comments to you for tonight. I don't have anything written for the record, it's just verbal tonight.
Okay.
And no pictures.
Thank you, Dave.
Available for questions if you have them. Am I over the 5 minutes here?
No, I think
You made it?
You made it, Dave.
Okay.
Thanks very much. Further public comment from the room? It's Joe.
Joe Major, White River Junction. I wanted to put, first of all, welcome to the new members of the select board. Congratulations to you. I wanted to put on the agenda for the next select board meeting, the Hometown Heroes Project, veterans flags that we are proposing for White River Junction. We would like to put a, not only proposal, but a presentation to you. There have been some misnomers and misinformation concerning it. We want to quell those, and also where we'd like, and some logistical things that we'd like to do as well. So I'd like to have that on the next agenda if
March 19th work. We're meeting
Yes.
next week. Yep.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Joe. Any more public comments? Okay, yeah.
I'd like to second that. Congratulations to Sue and I and Brandon. It was a pleasure getting to know you guys. Aaron Warner, I live in Hartford, and just as a reminder to everybody, I'm a strength and conditioning coach, so I get paid to make people uncomfortable for their own good. This one's on the house. So this is in regard to the proposal for flying the pride flag, which I believe is item 5A. The American flag literally represents a united people. United as in the entire country. Among the arguments LGBTQ activists make for flying their flag is that it represents diversity and inclusion. Not as much as that flag does. It is the ultimate in diversity and inclusion. All men and women are created equal and endowed by their creator with certain inalienable rights, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Everyone. The pride flag is by definition exclusive. It excludes anyone who is not LGBTQ, which is in fact most of the country. There is a growing pride fatigue around the country because pride doesn't know when enough is enough. It keeps wanting more, as pride often does. The problem I have with it is not a moral one, but one of civic interests. Is it in our interest to dedicate a month to a self-proclaimed special group of people? We have 12 months. Who gets the other 11? Is it first come, first serve? Are we going to be like Boston and violate the constitutional rights of Christians if they want to fly a flag next? Can the town afford that? Who else are we going to consider for flag flying? Trekkies? Star Wars fans? Soccer moms? We have a lot of those. When does it end? Honestly, if you plan to institute this for another year, I think you need to consider when it's going to stop, unless the flag flying thing becomes one more divisive issue the town has to deal with rather than infrastructure and public safety, the only two things it should be focused on. Another objection I have to the pride flag is it's explicitly sexual in nature. It's a sex flag, let's be honest. Every designation in LGBTQ is a sexual designation. You're a lesbian? How do we distinguish that? Oh, you like to have sex with women. Neat. You're gay, so you like to have sex with other men. Cool. You do you, bro. Oh, you're bisexual. You like to have sex with just about anybody. When I was growing up, bisexual people were experimenters who were a little slutty. We all let them figure out things on their own. What about the T? It's transsexual. Yet another sexual designation. Why the constant focus on sex here, people? And why are we thinking about flying a flag dedicated to people's sexual proclivities? Honestly, this whole thing feels very middle school to me. I find myself wondering when the activists are going to grow up and get on with being happy. They are equal to everyone else. Not special, equal. Can you drive a nail? Can you drive a commercial vehicle? Can you type 50 words per minute? Can you code? Do you have leadership skills? These are pertinent questions to a functioning society, not who do you prefer to have sex with. Would you please grow up? You like to have sex? Neat. Most adults do. Welcome to the human race. It's kind of how we got here. As for flag flying, I think we all know flags almost uniquely represent nations or national causes. So far, I've yet to see the LGBTQ nation at the Olympics. POWs and MIAs literally gave their lives for the country. Being LGBTQ is not heroic, though you might think it is. You're another person, just like everyone else. Sure, you may be different, but so are the rest of us. You may be special to your mom or your dad or whoever you'd like to have sex with. But to the rest of us, you're just another American worthy of the same respect we all enjoy because of that flag. Enough of the activism, enough of the seeking special attention. Please grow up and act like self-contained adults and not self-involved teenagers who constantly need to be affirmed. This is not a civil rights issue. You already have them. This is a civil society issue. We're all equal under that flag. That ought to be enough. Thank you.
Okay. Any more public comment in the room? Hey, anyone on Zoom?
One hand up on Zoom.
Okay.
Go ahead, Marcy, and unmute.
Hi, this is Marcy Bartlett from Wilder. How you doing? Congrats to Sue, Ida, and Brandon on joining the select board, and I hope you brought your big girl pants, big boy pants, because it can get interesting. But thank you for your willingness to serve. I really, really appreciate it and respect you for the process. Couple of things. I do have a question. First of all, for Brandon, if I may. When my first introduction to you was at a live select board meeting, I was there, came to the mic and spoke about your journalism and activism in Chicago, if I recall, to do with law enforcement. And I realized that you had very strong opinions about that. And then once the process of your candidacy got underway, I didn't hear a whole lot more about that. And now that you're here, I would like to reemphasize my strong feelings that the select board process is a collegial process and not an activism process. And representing the town carries the weight of that representation. I would like to know if you are prepared to act in collegial way with our public law enforcement people and not make this a
point of order, Mr. Chairman.
Marcy, you know, as we mentioned at the beginning of this, we really ask you to address the select board as a whole. It's not really a forum for the board members. So I would recommend that you reach out to Brandon through email or some other way. And if he feels, if he wants to discuss with you, that would be fine. But if you have another comment,
I do.
More broadly, I'd appreciate if we could move to that.
Sure, I'm glad to do that. I would like to ask the board to consider making the flying of the American flag and the Vermont state flag the exclusive flags that are flown on town property. And to the point of getting back to the business of the main business of the town, not having to field this request from whatever that particular group's interest is, but making a policy that it's just those two flags and that this is where we land as a town because those flags do represent each of us. I'd be very grateful if the board would demonstrate that type of group effort and frankly courage to be able to say this is who we are as a town and as members of the community as well as the United States.
Just another
Thank you, Marcy. Kim?
I mean, we're talking about an item that is on the agenda later, public comment, which is typically reserved for that agenda item.
Thank you, Marcy, for your thoughts. Do we have
Thank
any
you.
more? Yep, any more hands up on Zoom?
No other hands up at the moment.
All right, we will end public comment and go to select board comments and announcements. Kim, do you have anything?
Yes, just a couple quick things, more like procedural suggestions or recommendations I thought I would offer for anyone interested on the board. Some things that I have found extremely useful is prior to the select board meeting, after you get a chance to review the packet, if you have an opportunity to email the town manager and copy the chair and potentially myself as vice chair if you want, either way, but the town manager and the chair with any questions about the agenda that you might have, that would give them an opportunity to reach out to department heads or source the answers to any questions you have in advance, so that it will potentially help streamline our meetings. I think I'm encouraging everyone to ask questions, especially as you get up to speed. But one thing that a practice that the town manager has been doing, which I have also thought to be very useful, is in answering the questions. So we ask the question directly to the town manager and the chair, and then he responds to the whole board. So we all have the same information, but it's not a back and forth open meeting violation. So that is something I'd recommend, as well as you'll see toward the end of the agenda, we do what's called commission reports. And it's proven to be really useful for whoever's taking the minutes. So once we assign the committee liaisons and stuff, and you are, like, for example, last night I attended the planning commission meeting, and I'm going to give my commission report during that section of the agenda. It's super helpful if you want to email your commission report ahead of time, so that Lana or whoever is taking minutes doesn't have to paraphrase what you've said or rewatch the video to be able to include your commission report in the agenda. And then the last thing I'll mention that maybe we could discuss during the, we have to finalize the schedule for the effective and efficient meeting session that we're gonna have. We need to figure out that date with folks.
I think we've got a date.
We
I'll
do?
discuss it in the
Oh,
town
great,
manager.
okay, perfect. But one thing that either we can discuss sooner or at that session is one practice that was done a few years ago, but we haven't done recently, is rather than just randomly someone jumping in to make a motion, that it goes in turns. So for example, however it is in the agenda, the first motion of the night starts down at one end of the dais, and then typically the person next to them seconds. And then the next motion that comes up, the next person, so Lanny does the first one, Brandon does the second one, and it can rotate, doesn't have to go the same order every time. And obviously, if someone's not comfortable making a motion, they can pass or decline, and then it just moves to the next person. We did that a few years ago, and I found it also to be very efficient, so it's not just like this popcorn thing. Anyway, I'm just throwing that out there as a possibility for our moving forward. Thank you.
Thanks, Kim. Sue, any comment?
Nothing, thanks.
Ida, any comment?
Yeah, I just want to briefly say that I'm grateful to be here in this position. I'm honored. I'm also looking forward to, I ask for your patience as I, adjust to the role. I'm looking forward to not having like my heart at an accelerated rate as I have all you looking at me, but I do want to express gratitude to the voters. I really, appreciate your faith in me to step into this position. And yeah, to everyone, whether or not you voted for me, I really hope that over the coming months and years, you can come to see me as someone who is here to listen to your concerns, interested in your issues, and someone you can collaborate with. Thank you.
Thanks, Ida. Brandon, any comment?
Sure. I would just like to say I am looking forward to working with the police department and the people who make it up in a collegial manner. And I'm also really, I'd like to echo Ida in saying thanks to everyone I've encountered during the campaign. It's a few weeks of kind of trying to meet people, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. Like I told folks that if I did not get elected, the campaign itself was worth it to meet you folks. And lastly, I would just like to encourage anyone, if they feel like they disagree with me, you're more than welcome to reach out. And already in the 2 weeks I've been doing this, I've spent an inordinate amount of time talking with folks who very kindly reached out because they thought they disagreed with me. And we had these really great conversations. So hopefully I can have those with a lot of folks.
Thanks, Brandon. Lanny, any comment?
I have nothing.
I also have no comments, so we'll move on to appointments. We have a number of appointments and reappointments. Our first is to consider the reappointment of John Heath to the Planning Commission for a 3-year term beginning March 12th, 24, and ending March 11th, 2027. You should have the info packet in there. Would you like to come up and speak? Are you John?
Yes, I am.
Okay, yeah, if you could
Just a quick word.
Yeah.
Yeah, welcome new board members. Appreciate you standing up for this. I'm just asking for your support for to sort of help me to reappoint me for another term. Commission, just sort of a quick note of sort of reflecting on the last 3 years. We constantly talked about how the housing in Hartford's actually done a lot in the last few years. We've there's over 100 units being built. There's a lot more in the pipeline, and I think we're doing a really good job of attracting developers and working through the town plan to create housing. We have a long way to go, but I really think we're doing a good job. Just recently, we met with David, and that's another exciting project that's going to be a big impact on the town. Hopefully, I'll be able to work with that. And also rewriting the town building, the housing chapter. So right now it's still in draft form, but we've worked through that, and that was an interesting process. So
Thanks. Thanks very much.
if you have any questions.
Any questions for John?
I would just like to say, as liaison to the committee, I really appreciate your thoughtful contributions to the commission, and I would be happy to make a motion.
Any other questions or discussions before we make a motion? Sue?
I just wanted to say I only recently went to my first planning commission meeting, and my hat was off to all of you. That is quite a process that you keep doing, and it does so much good for the town. So thank you for being willing to come back.
Thank you.
Sure. Anyone else? Otherwise, I'll take a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move that the select board reappoint John Heath to the planning commission for a 3-year term beginning March 12th, 2024 and ending March 11th, 2027.
Great. Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a second from Sue. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, great. And thanks for coming by, John. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, our next item is to consider the reappointment of Jay Zanleoni to the Hartford Business Revolving Loan Fund for a 3-year term beginning March 12th, 2024, ending March 11th, 2027. Any discussion on this one?
Also, I'm no longer liaison to the HBRLF, but had been for a couple of years while Jay has been serving, and also like ace, like top contributor as well.
Great. I'll take a motion.
I'm happy to move to consider the reappointment of Jay Zanleoni to the Hartford Business Revolving Loan Fund for a 3-year term beginning March 12th, 2024, and ending March 11th, 2027.
Okay, we have a motion by Brandon. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second from Sue. Any discussion? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Okay, our next item is the reappointment of Michael Gabrielle to the Hartford Business Revolving Loan Fund for a 3-year term beginning March 12th, 2024 and ending March 11th, 2027. Any questions or discussion? Yep.
I'll just note that the application in there was for from 2021, but I'm guessing that was just him reapplying with the same application.
I don't know.
I think that was my assumption.
Lori is nodding over here.
Yeah, okay, great, thanks. And we did confirm that all these vacancies have been properly posted on the town website, just in case anyone's wondering.
Right, thanks. I'll take a motion.
I'll move
Okay, thanks.
to that the board reappoints Michael Gabrielle to the Hartford Business Revolving Loan Fund for a 3-year term beginning March 12th, 2024 and ending March 11th, 2027.
Great. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second from Kim. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, great. All right, now we have an appointment of our friend Dennis Brown to the Hartford Historic Preservation Committee for a 3-year term beginning March 12th, 2024 and ending March 11th, 2027. Dennis.
Hello, folks. Welcome to board members. I've had a lifelong interest in Hartford history and look forward to joining the good crew that's there now.
Great. Any questions for Dennis? Seeing none, I will take a motion.
I'd be honored to move that the select board appoint Dennis Brown to the Hartford Historic Preservation Committee for a 3-year term beginning March 12, 2024 and ending March 11, 2027.
Okay, do we have a second?
Aye.
We have a second from Sue. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you, Dennis.
And thanks for the chair of the Historic Preservation Committee for attending this as well.
Absolutely. Thanks, Dennis. All right, now we're going to consider the appointment of Joseph Denny to the Parks and Rec Commission for a 3-year term beginning March 12th, 2024. Yes, 2024 and ending March 11th, 2027. Mr. Denny, I believe, is here. If you'd like to introduce yourself and tell us about your interest in this committee.
Good evening. My name is Joe Denny, a longtime resident of Hartford, living in Quechee. And I have a background, educational background in recreation and park administration, and a number of years of coaching both youth and high school sports in the Upper Valley, including at Hartford High School, coached girls and boys varsity tennis and coached girls varsity soccer for many years. So I've also coached at Hanover High and Community Academy. I have a strong interest in outdoor recreation, parks, trails, other kinds of recreational pursuits, not just competitive sports, and want to give back to the town of Hartford and support support kids and adults, support all of our people having access to great recreational facilities and programs.
Okay. Any questions for Joe? Yeah, I'll take a motion.
I'll make
Okay, thanks, Sue.
if I can find it on the list. Sorry, Joe.
Letter E.
E, thanks. Okay, I move that the board make the appointment of Joseph Denny to the Parks and Rec Commission for a 3-year term beginning March 12th.
Just make sure you choose the year 2024.
2024 and ending March 11, 2027.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second from Kim. Any discussion? Okay. All those in
No,
favor?
I just want to say thank you. You have an amazing resume to bring, so
Yeah.
thank you for that.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you. And I did neglect to say it. Other people have said it before. Welcome to our new select board members. As a personal note, my father was a longtime select board member and chair in my hometown of Northfield. And I have a appreciation for all of the work and dedication that goes into it. So thank you for serving the town in your work.
Great, thank you, Jim. We have a motion. Did we get a second?
Yeah.
We did. Okay. So all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, our next item is to consider the appointment of Sara Campbell. She's not going to be able to be here till 7 or so, so I suggest that we hold off on that. Our next item is to consider the reappointment of Matt Osborne as the acting zoning administrator beginning March 23rd, 2024 for a 3-year term ending March 22nd, 2027. And Lori is here, I think, to explain this particular appointment to us.
Right, this is a little bit different than your typical appointments to select board committees and so forth. This is a position that comes under the state statute, and the town has the opportunity to appoint an acting zoning administrator or zoning administrative officer, interchangeable term. That position actually can be done from a town staff and has for several years been assigned to the Matt Osborne, who is our town planner or community development planner. And the planning commission reviewed this because it is their requirement to actually make a recommendation for the nomination, and they voted unanimously last night to make that nomination. So on that note, I would recommend that you reappoint Matt Osborne as the Hartford Acting Zoning Administrative Officer.
Great, thank you. Questions for Lori?
Isn't Joanne's title also?
She's the zoning administrator, and this is the acting. So in her absence, he would be available to take on the duties of the zoning administrator. And this is just routine. There's no planned activities that require this. It's just a standardized practice.
Other questions for Lori? Lynn?
Make a motion.
Sure.
Make a motion, we appoint Matt Osborne as Hartford Acting Zoning Administrative Officer for a 3-year term from March 23rd, 2024 through March 22nd, 2027.
Okay, we have a motion from Lanny. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second from Brandon. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Great, good work. So we're holding off on Sara till she shows up, but we can move along. That's the rest of our agenda, and that starts with the town manager's report. So I will turn it over to John.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First of all, I'd like to join everyone else in congratulating our newest select board members, Sue Buckholz, Ida Griesemer, and Brandon Smith, and of course, best wishes to the select board members who've concluded their service, Dan Fraser, Ali Tafanchian, and Rocket. The town's proposed 2025 budget was approved by the voters. The budget includes several new positions: a crime data analyst, community outreach position within the police department, a housing and development specialist within the planning department, a part-time community nurse funded to the order of $75,000 as a pilot project, and a public information officer. Voters also approved the proposed charter changes with the exception of the proposed 1% sales tax, which was narrowly defeated. The proposed $1.3 million bond for improvements to Fire Station number 2 in Quechee was approved, and 2 of our 3 LOT, local option tax usage proposals were approved. That is the fire department ambulance and the village's beautification proposal. The proposed use of $225,000 in local option tax funds for improvements to Lyman Point Park was narrowly defeated. We of course have 2 new members of the Hartford School Board. The school district votes on the school budget and bond and its charter revision proposal, which will be the same as the town's, in April. So stay tuned. I think some final decisions are being made tomorrow night by the school board. The town manager has forwarded an important survey to all 195 members of staff and boards, commissions, and committees with regard to our welcoming and engaging community cohort approach. In concert with Abundant Sun, our consultant, and VLCT. We had a good response with nearly 68% of those people filling out their survey. We look forward to getting the results of that survey, and hopefully it will cause some further discussions on how we can make Hartford even more welcoming and engaging. The town manager met with Brian Gazda and Chris Holsworth of DPW for a site visit of the Fairview Terrace project to be. And we also met virtually with design engineers yesterday to discuss their work and anticipated timeline for final design with cost estimates with an eye toward a potential bond vote this fall. We anticipate Du Bois and King addressing the select board to provide an update on April 16th. Meanwhile, their work continues. I should let everybody know that the public comment period has opened with respect to the renewal by the Federal Energy Regulatory Agency, FERC, of the Wilder Hydro Dam's license to operate. Such an event occurs only every 40 years or so the town would be very wise to seek public input and select board approval of comments that the town is eligible and allowed to make toward that regulatory process. Toward this end, town staff is working to host a public outreach effort, which I believe will take place Monday, March 18th at 5:30 at the town hall. The Connecticut River Conservancy plans to address the select board at its meeting on April 2nd on that same topic, so stay tuned for more. Just in terms of the new membership of the select board, we do have inputs now from everybody about their schedule to work with Dominic Cloud, our facilitator of choice, on conducting efficient and effective select board meetings. The only one of the three options for meeting dates that every select board member appears able to attend would be Wednesday, March 27th at 6 p.m. And unless there's an objection, I'll follow up with Dominic, or maybe Kim and I will, to lock that in, and stay tuned for that being put on the schedule. Thanks particularly to Lanny for his input and flexibility on that. The Select Board Essentials workshop that VLCT puts on for new and existing Select Board members and others will take place Saturday, March 3rd in Fairleigh. I believe you've seen the brochure. We already have at least one registrant, and I'm pleased about that. I'm certainly willing and able to join if any others members want to sign up. I'd be happy to go with you and attend that with you if you'd like. The open meeting law workshop that's also being hosted by VLCT will take place on April 17th from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. There's a brochure in tonight's materials on your table. And I would like to point out that you've also seen on tonight's table an invitation from the Hartford High School Alumni Organization, specifically Phil Sargent, inviting all select board members and in fact all department heads to attend the alumni parade, which is scheduled for June 24th. You can see more in your packet. Sorry.
Scott did correct, it's the 22nd.
Is it the 22nd? Okay, would that be a Saturday then? Okay, it made sense because we had seen on our calendar that that would be a Monday. So Saturday, the 22nd it is. Thank you for that, Kim. Just a few things from the SIGAX I would like to emphasize, and that's of course for the new select board members, also in your packet. It's a compilation of department heads' information about what they've been up to and what things they want to bring to our attention. As to the Environmental Sustainability Coordinator's report, he writes that in an attempt to get the select board, commission and committee members and residents more familiar with town facilities, town manager, department heads, and the Environmental Sustainability Coordinator will be holding facility tours to look at building operations, energy use, and issues and opportunities. The first of these will be at the Waba Ice Rink on either Friday, March 15th, that's this week, or Saturday, March 16th. I believe that I have emailed all of you a brief email to that effect from Dana Clausen, which has a link which allows you to click on which date you might prefer for that group tour. With respect to the DPW, Department of Public Works, they mentioned that Ryan Murphy has just begun his work there as a new equipment operator within the Highway Division. And given the challenges we've had with recruitment there, we're very pleased about this addition. At the same time, with regret, we were informed that Evan Ecker is resigning from his position as Chief Water Operator and will be furthering his career with Green Mountain Power. Staff have been spending time with Evan to ensure a smooth transition. Evan will be greatly missed and we wish him well in his new position. With regard to the Quechee abatement, pollution abatement plant, they've scheduled an instructional course regarding electrical components of a pump station. None of the operators are significantly experienced in electrical operations, and this will be an important safety course for their staff there. Department of Parks and Recreation, Scott Hausler points out that the 2024 Spring Summer Program Guide is completed, and they've gotten 1,000 copies made. They're throughout the building. I believe you may have copies of them. Certainly, they're available online if anybody wants to go to hartfordrec.com to see about upcoming programming opportunities. Another mention that ice will come out of the Upper Valley Hockey Association facility, or I should say the the ice rink. So that's why we're having this tour relatively soon. Department of Planning and Public and Development highlights. They continue to follow up with applicants for the large housing development proposed for Sykes Mountain Avenue and for a car wash on Sykes Mountain Avenue for future Planning Commission public hearings and Zoning Board of Adjustment public hearings. They've conducted inspections of completed projects for the issuance of certificates of occupancy, and they continue to work on the economic development chapter of the town plan. In fact, they're conducting interviews with staff, select board members, and members of the public this week and next week. I would like to personally thank, as the planning department has, the Conservation Commission for holding a successful environmental stewardship mix and mingle event at the Bugby Center on February 29th. 5 town commissions and 6 organizations participated, and roughly 45 people attended. That was a very successful event. The town clerk points out that the Board of Civil Authority and the town clerk's office and the many community members serving as assistant election officials welcomed 1,500 in-person voters to the polls on Tuesday of last week for the town and school district elections, as well as the presidential primary. Over 800 folks voted by early or absentee ballot for a total participation exceeding 2,300 voters. Lisa would like to thank the community for voting and for your patience as the lines grew longer later in the day. Election results, of course, have been posted on the town's website. A reminder from their office, all dogs 6 months or older must be licensed by April 1st. The fee is $9 for dogs spayed and neutered, $13 for dogs not altered. We typically license about 850 dogs a year, and thus far we've only licensed 300, so we're trying to play catch up. Please bring your dog information to the clerk's office. We're pleased to represent that within the criminal department, the police department, investigator Clifford tested and received his unmanned aircraft systems, also known as drone command license. As to dispatch, we have a couple of very good stories to tell briefly. On the morning of February 27th, Katie Myrie was driving into work from Springfield, Vermont. She saw a couple of cars pulled over to the side of the road and spotted a female lying on the ground with a couple of people next to her. She stopped and approached the scene, noticing the female was not conscious. Katie checked her pupils and suspected an overdose, and it was confirmed. Katie administered Narcan to the female, who shortly came around just as police and EMTs arrived. So hats off to Katie for that intervention. Also, Becky Stearns took a 911 call from a frantic woman whose 9-month-old grandchild was choking, and with her counsel, that problem was resolved with some blows to the back of the child's body, and the child was soon heard crying in the background, which was good news for all. Finally, emergency communications candidate Chelsea O'Brien started her first training day. She comes with many years of experience as a dispatcher and many years working as an EMT. We look forward to working with Chelsea, and we know she'll be an outstanding addition to the dispatch staff. Finally, in the fire department, we'd like to point out that they're working with high school and the tech center to provide job shadow opportunities to students. We currently are hosting students considering a career in firefighting, and one student is shadowing the public safety mechanic for a future career in fleet maintenance. The fire marshal issued a building safety order at 303 Christian Street in conformance with the town's dilapidated building ordinance. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Questions for John? Kim and then Lynn?
This is gonna be my commission report, but because there's people in the room now that might not be later, also from the significant activity report. The planning department is hosting a community forum on the economic development chapter update for the town plan. So we just hired a consultant to help facilitate the update of the economic development chapter in the town plan. So on Thursday, just 2 days from now, Thursday, the 14th at the Bugby Center at 6 p.m., there's a community forum that's open to the public, and we all are welcome and encouraged to join.
Ben?
Yeah, question, John, do you have an update on what the current status of our community safety review is?
I don't, but I know that Ally, who just left us, is on that panel along with, I think, about 10 others. I don't have the latest report. Does anybody else here on the board know about it? No. Sorry.
Is that something you could get back to us on, please?
Absolutely, yeah.
And then the other question I guess I had, and since Chief Cooney's in the room, what does the building safety order entail at 303 Christian Street? What does that basically mean for that building?
Hey, Lanny. It's a legal process for one. They received a certified letter from us to make certain corrections or adjustments to the property to bring it into safety compliance. I don't have the letter in front of me, but I can get that to you. You can take a look at it.
So is the building inhabitable?
Correct. It qualifies as dilapidated building.
So it's not
by ordinance. It is not.
Okay.
It is not. So it is a process for us to mitigate with the property owner on how to either secure the property so that it no longer poses a safety hazard, or by other means demolish.
Is there some method that's being used to keep squatters out of there?
We have something of an informal task force that is called to action when we hear reports of situations like those at 303 Christian Street. And that usually involves me alerting the health officer, if he's not already aware of it, that's Brett Mayfield, the fire marshal, that's Tom Peltier, the police chief, and sometimes the fire chief if there's fire related concerns. And those folks have gotten very experienced at working together, knowing what tools are in the tool belt and what tools are just not available in certain situations. A lot of it depends on the owner of the land and what their wishes are with regard to people coming onto their property. So there's a lot of variables in each new situation.
Understood. Thank you.
Other questions for John?
Yeah. So John, I just wanted to go back to the topic of the Wilder Hydro Dam license renewal, because that's something, I live in Wilder. I go to the Kilowatt Park like almost every day with my dog, who, by the way, I just got a license for. It was a very easy process. You just needed to bring your, we just needed the rabies vaccine verification, which also had the verification that the dog was spayed or neutered.
That's outstanding modeling.
Yes. They're very helpful. Yeah. You do need cash. They do not take cards or check. But anyway, so I've been talking to folks in my community about this comment process. I'm very excited that it's open. A lot of other people who frequent Kilowatt Park are, invested and interested in that too. So I just wanted to clarify, ask a question if my understanding is correct, so FERC, the agency that's renewing this hydro dam license, they have it's not just the dam that they are involved with, it's really that whole Kilowatt Park area.
It's the impact on the community, and that's why the town has an interest and an opportunity to comment on that impact and how it could be mitigated through various measures we might recommend in our comments that we make to FERC.
Right. So yeah, I think that's an opportunity just to underline if you are interested in, not just the immediate area surrounding the dam, but the sort of impact of the park as a whole, yes. Kilowatt North and Kilowatt South, then it's a great opportunity to offer comments. And I'm glad to hear that there is going to be a event surrounded by around this. And I'm definitely willing to offer, help getting the word out about that. As someone who goes to the park all the time, I've been chatting with people a little bit about it, but if there was it's great to have a date, I would definitely, pass out whatever flyer or anything to people down there.
I'll be happy to give you that information. They just decided on the date today, I think.
Okay.
And Scott Hausler, Parks and Rec,
Mhm.
And Lori Hirschfield from planning have been working together on setting up this public outreach session. So
Okay.
I'll pass on your concerns and comments to them, and if there's anything they would like you to get out to the community. I'll pass that on.
Yeah, mostly I'm just excited that it's happening, and I just want to make sure that we're really letting people know that this is like a kind of once in a lifetime opportunity
Yes.
to like give input on what that park is going to look like in the future.
Any other questions for John? Brandon?
Yes, hi, John. I'm setting up my town email address, and I wanted to make a signature on it and include some information. So anyone who reaches out can know things about how to access select board meetings online or in person. And a couple of my friends and I, we spent a good half an hour, and we didn't find the dates of the meeting on the website. My recommendation, like the calendar didn't have it. And so my recommendation, if I may be so bold, is, on the town website, there's like one landing page for select board. And, that's real easy to find. So maybe we could just put like this, it's like the dates of all the select board meetings this year. And then a few links such as to agendas of the next meeting and the past meeting. That is already a webpage. A link to like Zoom, access this via Zoom. I know it goes out on the listserv, so that's easy enough to find, but I think there is a way to make a Zoom link that is persistent so that okay, that's great. Thank you. And then, I suppose to like Jam's YouTube page where you can watch past meetings if you'd like.
Thanks very much.
Any other questions for John? Okay, thanks very much, John.
Sure.
All right, our next item is a request to fly the pride flag at Town Hall. This came up last year. The board approved flying it. I believe for this year, it's requested to be flown from July 20th to July 27th. If you'd like to comment, tell us.
My name is Joey Finley. I live in Heartland, but I work at the Main Street Museum as a volunteer. Welcome to the new board members. Good luck. It's kind of, I'm going to keep it short. I represent the Pride Committee. It's the White River Junction Pride Committee. This is our 5th year of operation. And we would like to fly the Progressive Pride flag from the morning of the 20th to the afternoon of the 27th. And I think it's an important gesture on part of the town to show that we are a welcoming community. We're not asking you to remove the American flag or the Vermont flag, just to represent for that 1 week that we throw events. We have 10 events crammed into 7 days here in town. We bring thousands of people to town for those events. And this year our focus is on books, and we're planning to give away 500 free books that week to the community in response to the bomb threats made at Northern Stage during the story hour. We've got a lot of great events planned, so.
Okay.
And it always culminates in a giant parade and a giant festival, and then we lower the flag.
Good, thank you, Joey.
Yep.
Any questions for Joey or any discussion about this issue amongst the board? Okay, would like to make a motion? I don't think there's an attached motion in the agenda, but I think it's fairly straightforward.
Joey, can you just remind me, you referred to it as the something pride flag?
It's called the Progressive Pride flag. It includes intersex and transgender colors.
Okay, so Mr. Chair, in compliance with the Hartford Town Hall flagpole policy, I recommend, or I move that the select board approve the raising of the Progressive Pride flag at Town Hall from July 20th to July 27th, 2024.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second from Sue. Discussion? Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
All right, so I think it's 5-1 to 1. Thank you for coming.
Oh, thank you. And if anybody wants to come to the museum and get a tour, you haven't been yet.
Great. All right, our next item, fire marshal staffing. We've got Chief Cooney here. I believe this is informational only.
It
right,
is.
Scott?
It is.
So
Yeah.
he's just gonna give us an update. So yeah, take it away.
All right. Well, first of all, I wanted to say welcome to all our new board members. And I would encourage you to reach out to the town manager. I would love to give you a tour of public safety, talk to you a little bit about the fire department, what operations that we do up at the public safety building. I think you'd get a lot out of it. Probably go wow and be a little surprised at all the things that are going on up there. And I'll just draw your attention to the screen as well. Hartford is one of the only accredited fire department in the state of Vermont. In fact, we're only one of two in New England. We got this last certification back in 2019. And as you can see, it expires this year, and we are in the renewal phase of that process right now. Our docs are all with peer review, doing peer assessment right now. And if we're successful, a peer team will be assigned to us and will come and visit our agency and see if we do what we say we do in our documents. All right, so this presentation is mainly to just discuss some of the challenges we've been having in the fire prevention office, tell you a little bit about what that is, and then a solution I presented to the town manager and what we're moving forward with. So first, a little bit about fire prevention and code enforcement. That authority came to us back in February of 2010, and that comes through the Commissioner of Public Safety to the town of Hartford and gives us the authority to enforce the state fire code within our community, specifically for new construction, existing buildings as defined in the title of a public building, and except for a few exceptions. And that is on high-rise buildings and in healthcare occupancies. So that includes a lot of areas of code enforcement. That's enforcing the fire code, the life safety code, the plumbing and electrical codes as well, all comes out of the office. And there is a fee structure assigned to this. The state of Vermont collects fees for these permits and services, and we adopt typically or present for adoption because it's you as the board that adopts the fee structure for the town. And we mirror pretty much what the state is charging statewide. A new thing that happened in 2022 was Act 181. The legislature passed the act that transferred kind of concurrent authority to enforce the rental health code in rental units within this community. So it's kind of concurrent authority you see that the health officers are doing throughout the community. So staffing wise, we only have only one on staff. And this gentleman was doing a considerable amount of inspections throughout the community. And honestly, with all the new construction and the new requirements, has been chasing his tail a lot. So we're seeing a lot of pressures in that office. This slide is just meant to show you kind of a little bit about what that office is doing on the number of inspections. In the budget, we estimate, obviously, for how much revenue we're going to collect in the given year. And the actuals are shown on the far side of the screen of what fees for services they're collecting in the fire marshal's office. The FY24 number is 6 months into the fiscal. So as you can see, we estimated about $80,000 worth of revenue, and we're up to about 107,000 at this point. And that's figured on new construction. It is $8 per thousand of project costs. That is the permit fee. And understand that when the fire marshal's doing a new construction, it is from digging the foundation to the roof being put on and everything in between. So it is a time, it takes a lot of time. We're close to completing the Prospect Street property that's in and behind us.
So Scott, just So generally, like the revenue is gonna go up when we get more projects.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to estimate because we never know with the time things come to Lori in the planning and zoning office. We kind of have to kind of estimate on what projects are gonna be in queue that given year. We're always sensitive to that in budget development at the end of the year because we don't want to overestimate what revenues are and then have to make up for it on the expenditure side of the budget versus the revenue side. So we're trying to be careful of that. But yes, the last few years we've seen considerable growth and new construction and permit fees that have, increased the revenue substantially.
The one question about the legislature transferring the safety code to the Division of Fire Safety, has that increased the workload?
It has, yeah. So right now, I'm sure if most of you know Brett Mayfield, who is the town appointed health officer. We work concurrently with him most of the time anyways up to this point, because typically if there are health code violations, there are fire code violations, and there's a lot of crossover between the two codes. So we've been collaborating for years. It's just now the authority has been given to us as well. So we're picking up some of that load as well. Mainly complaint driven. Yeah. Yep.
Thanks.
Yep. Let's see, moving past revenue. So I like to say our mission drives our decision-making process, and we're looking to be, a service that, looks for those highest levels of community safety and prevention activities. So in looking at what was happening in the fire marshal's office, so I hired our current fire marshal back in July of 2020, and he had transferred up through the ranks and had been a part-time employee for a while. And Tom Peltier is our fire marshal, took over that role in 2020. And worked with an outgoing employee as a part-time employee in that office doing this kind of work. In 2022, that employee decided to resign, retire permanently from his position. And we began looking for another employee. And then in September of 22, we hired another deputy fire marshal part-time, another prior employee that chose to come back and work doing inspections on the side. And that person had to leave us due to a medical condition. And we began looking for another full-time position that year. So in July of 23, we advertised for another full-time deputy fire marshal. We hired a wonderful young lady, Gabrielle, who filled that role as deputy fire marshal through January when we had an opening in the operations side of the department. So the firefighter paramedic position had opened up, and she asked to be transferred from the fire marshal's office to the floor. So she's now working shift and started her probation as a firefighter. So I think that's great, but it did put us looking for another fire marshal. So we advertised in January for either a full or part-time, trying to capture what markedly might be available out there for this kind of unique specific position. And we received 2 applicants. And one was actually for a part-time position who was a past employee, already trained and pretty much knew the job and could be easily put to work, but was not able to work a full-time position. And the other candidate she has a lot of experience, just not in the fire service. And she's probably going to take a year to get her trained. So in looking at the growth we've been experiencing, the requests for increased inspections, falling behind on our current workload because we like to be in existing apartment buildings on at least a 5-year cycle, if not less than that, to keep them in compliance. And the current fire marshal working tons of overtime to try to catch up. And then considering that we had 2 candidates that were available, I made a proposal to the town manager to add that part-time position into the budget. Well, utilizing funds that are in the budget allow me to hire that additional part-time employee there for the rest of this fiscal year, and then in the FY25 budget to find it within our allocated funding, and then bring it back to you probably this fall during FY26 budget development and discuss whether to continue it going forward.
Yeah.
So is that whatever the fiscal 24 funds are from salary savings or whatever, what was the source of the funds for 25?
25. So 25, we have an employee that's announced his retirement, and he's a senior employee. And I know that the position that is going to take that position through promotion is going to be at a much different salary than that long-term employee. So we're using some of that because he's only going to be working half a year. That's where that's coming from. And then some out of the call firefighters fund. Yep.
Questions for the chief? Lenny?
So the actual revenue that I see of 107,317, where is that actually going to?
It goes into an account.
But is that going directly to salaries or?
No. So I don't utilize any of the revenue. So when you just voted, when the town just voted at town meeting, you see where it says you're drawing 16 million from the taxes and then you're assuming so much from revenue. That revenue is what this is.
Okay.
The revenue that's offsetting the total balance of the budget.
Okay, and then the other question I guess I had is, are we currently at a state where building construction is thwarted by the lack of fire marshal inspection?
I've not heard that as a complaint. It is time consuming in that there are certain phases of construction that require a pre-inspection before the work starts. So that because I mean, that's where we're focusing on. And I think that's what I've recognized is we're focusing on the new construction so much because they're paying a lot in permit fees. They deserve the focus that we're losing all the existing buildings, the other people that we need to check in on.
Well, we're facing a housing crisis, and the more housing we can get built, without having obstacles.
Yeah, and I think in
terms of inspection.
Yeah, and I think in the design of this is what I see as the duty of the fire marshal is to inspect new construction. And that the deputy fire marshals are doing all the existing buildings, the purchase and sales inspections that we have to do, complaint follow-up, health officer stuff, and those kind of things, where the fire marshal can do plans review and new construction inspections.
Thank you.
Yep.
So I'd like to put a plug in for our current fire marshal, having shown up at our condo association meeting so that we could all be friends before the flood came.
Yes.
That really helped. So I don't want us to lose a focus on existing, because then when you have a catastrophe and he comes in yelling at us and we know him already. Okay, so just
understood.
My only observation.
Comments, questions for Scott? All right. Thanks very much, Scott.
You're welcome.
Okay, I see that Sara Campbell has arrived, so I think we can go back to her appointment, which we skipped earlier. And that's an appointment. Consider the appointment of Sara Campbell to the Hartford Committee on Racial Equity and Inclusion, HCORI, for a 2-year term beginning March 12, 2024, and ending March 11, 2026. Sara, if you'd like to tell us about your interest, anything else you think is relevant to us, please go ahead.
Sorry, Sara Campbell, White River Junction. Welcome, new board members. Nice to see you. I've actually been on HCORI since inception, and I left my community seat in August to take the school board seat on HCORI. And then I did not run for the school board for this term, so I would love to get my community seat back, and that is why I'm here today. So I'm incredibly familiar with the committee and its work, and would like to continue serving.
One question, you need to get both board, the select board and school board approval, is that right?
So the school board is approving me tomorrow night.
Okay.
I went on their emergency meeting on Monday because I couldn't go tomorrow night.
Yep.
So yeah, it'll be done tomorrow night.
Any questions for Sara? Kim?
I mean, just comment as well, having worked with Sara in multiple capacities, but Sara's skills and strengths as like a project manager and her organizational skills have really been a huge asset to the committee. I mean, and also on the town manager search committee and things, but yeah, her participation is really vital to helping the committee be very productive. So, and Sara, I just hope that you will hold us accountable to the work on policies and et cetera.
I just gave my August 21st, 2021 date to someone else last week.
Okay.
Sorry, it's for the board. We approved a policy on policies and a policy process on October 21st, 2021. And I've come back every 4 months to ask for it. So.
Just to ask this question, Sara, would you be open as a committee member to considering the possibility of modifying the charge when the time is right to change the select board liaison positions to non-voting?
We have not discussed that as a committee, so I don't wanna speak for the committee, but we have discussed, asking for one representative from each board instead of two, which would alleviate some of our quorum challenges, and also just put less of a burden on incredibly busy people. Now, having served on the school board, I know how hard it is. So that conversation has come up, but I have no objection of being part of that, non-voting conversation as well.
Cool. Happy to make a motion.
Other questions or discussion? I'll take a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move that the select board appoint Sara Campbell to the Hartford Committee on Racial Equity and Inclusion for a 2-year term beginning March 12, 2024 and ending March 11, 2026.
I'll second the motion.
We have a second from Lanny. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thanks, Sara.
Thanks, everyone.
All right, now we'll go back. So we're gonna hear, we're making actually great time on this. We're gonna hear some remarks from National Grid. Then I think we'll take our 5-minute break, come back, assign our liaisons and finish up the rest of the meeting. So we do have representatives here from National Grid. If you'd like to introduce yourselves and you can take it from them.
I think it's just on. Oh, love that. Okay, while I figure this out, for the record, my name is Caitlin Monroe. I work for Hilltop Public Solutions, and we are working with National Grid on this project, accompanying Bethany and other folks on the stakeholder team for the community outreach piece of the project.
And I'm Bethany Rocha. I'm here on behalf of National Grid, doing the community outreach portion.
Great.
We also have James King here, who is also part of the project team. And I know we have at least one project team member who has joined the Zoom.
Okay.
In the event that you have any.
Promote them to a panelist.
Oh,
Do they
yeah.
need, do you want them to speak?
They might to answer some
They
questions
might,
if you
yeah.
have them.
So Corey Schutzman is one of them.
Oh, and Joshua Holden?
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, excellent. I'm so glad Josh is on.
All right, so they're both promoted as panelists, so they would be able to unmute themselves.
Perfect.
Great.
Perfect. Can I share my screen or can I? Yeah. Please.
What's your?
It's either Caitlin Monroe or Kay Monroe.
Are you doing anything?
I've been promoted. Okay. Voila. Wow. I did it for real this time.
Perfect.
Okay, let's start from the beginning. First and foremost, there's a lot going on in the Wilder area. Just want to be very clear that this project is on the Vermont side, very teeny tiny. Yeah, it's super small. The majority of this is in New Hampshire. But as a host community, it's really important for us to go to every town that this line goes through and have a conversation and make sure you know who to reach out to if you do have any questions, and just kind of build the bridge and make sure that we have folks from our project team to answer things, especially our experts who know a lot depending on their field.
Great.
So we're going to go through the project as a whole, just so you can kind of see all of the parts of it. And then we'll focus on the little teeny part that's in Hartford.
Okay.
Okay. Well, the overview, history, project scope, benefits, what the project looks like here, what our schedule is, a little bit about the permitting process, and ways that you all and your constituents can get in touch with us. You want to go?
Sure. So yeah, this is the overview. The River Valley Reliability Project will be addressing the transmission line known as the W149 line. It was placed in service in 1948. The line is 44.2 miles long, and originates in Hartford at the Wilder substation, traverses 6 towns in New Hampshire, and ends in Rockingham, Vermont at the Bellows Falls substation. The need for the project is that we will be replacing aging structures, relocating structures where possible and needed, and reconductoring the line. This need is due to tree contacts and lightning strikes. The move of the center line is to mitigate that, and work will be conducted within National Grid's existing right-of-way easement.
Obviously, this doesn't really pertain to you all, but we will be replacing 509 structures with engineered steel pole davit arm structures, H-frame structures, 3-pole dead end structures, and as Bethany said, relocating the center line where possible. And although the line itself is the 42 miles, we're really working within the 39.6 circuit miles, and replacing the shield wire with OPGW, also known as optical ground wire. And I need to get rid of this, sorry. And a new 115 kV conductor, which it currently is, just replacing the existing line.
Oh, you want me to go? So for the benefits of this project, overall, it will be improved electric reliability throughout the region, reducing future maintenance and repair costs, and it will be continued safe and reliable delivery of energy to all residents in the region. This is the transmission line. We deliver energy to the substations, and so your municipal electric providers will have a safer and reliable
access.
Yeah. That's a good word.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you have a question?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is strictly taking power from the hydroelectric project on the Wilder Dam, is that? Or is this also transmitting power from other sources as well?
So this is the energy of the line is coming from Wilder down to Bellows Falls. I'm going to show you a map, and hopefully that will.
The Wilder Dam is generating all power from
No.
Okay.
No.
Josh, were you going to say something?
Go for it.
Well, I was going to say the electricity can flow multiple directions. So the 115 kV system at Wilder has a connection into Velco. So the electricity generated at Wilder could go up to Velco, go down to Bellows Falls, via the transmission line and to the substations along the line. If for some reason the Wilder generating facility was offline for maintenance, the electricity would flow from Bellows Falls up to Wilder and from Velco down to Wilder potentially. So the electricity can travel around wherever it needs to go, basically.
I'm just wondering how much power the Wilder Dam actually puts out.
Oh, I can try to look that up offline. I don't know off the top of my head.
So yeah, we don't. That's very separate from us, right? That's owned by.
That's owned by GRH currently.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure what the capacity is of the dam itself. I can try to look at one of my sources and see if it tells me.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, here is your map. So it's a little hard to see. Sorry. There is a little dotted line. Wonder if I can.
I see it.
Oh,
It's above the dotted. Oh, it's right there. Yeah.
Yeah. So this dotted line here is the existing line. There's only one structure, I think, that we're looking at in Vermont, right? For this
No,
one?
there are 3 structures, but we're not doing anything to the structures.
Yeah,
But yeah, there are
structures
3.
staying the same. The only thing we're working on here is just reconductoring. So just replacing line.
Yeah, there we go.
3 structures.
Yeah. So within Hartford, we have approximately 0.12 miles in length and 3 structures. We are only replacing the conductor.
So this is general permitting process. I don't know, Corey, if you want to chime in and talk a little bit about this, considering what this project actually looks like.
About the PUC process or just the environmental permitting?
Environmental permitting is fine.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. And in Vermont, we don't actually, for this part of the project, we don't actually anticipate a lot of environmental permitting for the Wilder, for the work at the Wilder substation. Like you said, Caitlin and Bethany, there's no ground disturbing work. It's all overhead work. And it's pretty high and dry. So we anticipate using the access as is. It's a large grassy area. If we need to use some mats to protect the ground, we can do that. But that's pretty much it. We don't anticipate any tree clearing being needed. So there won't be any coordination with A&R. We do have to submit a request for project review to the SHPO. So we'll be coordinating with the Division of Historic Preservation. But we have done extensive archaeological review at the site previously. So that reveals that there's no need for any additional review. So there's no sensitivity there. We should be able to go ahead and do that without further any kind of further investigations. But it does cross the river, so we will not any Vermont specific permitting, but we'll deal with permitting the river crossing with the Army Corps and the consultations that are included therein.
Thank you. Denny?
So the biggest question I guess I have is, what impact will this project have upon the citizens of Hartford that live around the project?
I will say it should be minimal. Trucks and equipment in that area for the pulling of the wire.
Will the field still be open for residents to use?
I think that's a Josh question.
I think it depends on.
So when we're doing construction activities, if we want the residents to stay out of our active work areas, so we would cordon those off. But the areas like to the north of the substation, we shouldn't have any impact on. The areas to the south of the access road, we shouldn't have any impact on. But where it says new W149N, that general area would be off limits.
I guess my question is, how long does it take, and when is it going to happen?
Yeah, we can.
That is next.
I was gonna say we can go over schedule, and then maybe at that point, Josh can chime in on maybe an approximate time that they'll be in the area, not specifically when, but how long. So this is the preliminary project schedule. As you can imagine, things like engineering and certain field work happens far before we get to this point in a project. But our stakeholder outreach started in the fall of 2023. We sent a notification to 500-foot abutters before we started our soil borings, and field assessment started in fall of 2023. Vegetation management started prior to the soil borings in winter of 2023 to spring of 2024. And then there will be another round prior to construction in the winter of 2026 through the end of construction. The permitting phase should be about 2024 through 2025. And the construction and restoration should start December 2026 and be wrapped up about March 2030. And that construction and restoration is for the entirety of the line. So about 39.6 to 44.2 miles.
And I think we're looking at the line being energized by January of 2030. The new line.
It was somewhere between November and January.
Yeah.
I forget exactly when.
It's still a little ways into the future.
Yes.
So, the main idea is that there's a small section in Hartford,
Mhm.
the line crosses to New Hampshire, travels south, crosses back to Vermont and Rock.
Correct.
So I imagine the work with the other municipalities on the line may be more extensive, since ours is just a little kind of.
Yep.
It's certainly something that'll be interesting to the Parks and Rec folks who oversee that those kilowatt parks, and so certainly I'll let Scott Hauser know if he's not already aware of it.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I was gonna say we're more than open to having conversations, maybe walking out there to see.
Yeah, absolutely.
So is there a specific time frame when you're going to be in Hartford in Vermont?
There will be, but I don't, Josh can correct me, but I don't believe that the construction pattern has been set yet.
We're working on it right now. It looks like we're targeting some work in spring of 28 and some work in fall of 28.
Okay.
And you will all be kept in the loop on all of that. No one is going to, our goal is to not have any surprises.
Yeah.
So, you know, we want your constituents to know what the plan is, where they can be, where they can't be, when they can and can't be there, and to have as minimal impact as we possibly can.
I mean, what I was looking for was, we're not gonna be impacted this entire time.
No,
Yeah,
no.
right, okay, good. Thank you.
Kim?
And even though it's only 0.12 miles in this region, when it says that the overall project benefits will be improved electric reliability throughout the region, reducing future maintenance and repair costs, will most of Hartford benefit from that? Like, even though there's only that little part in our town, will our residents also benefit from that improved service?
Again, Josh might be able to better answer that, but I think part of that was the multi-directional use of that, is that if, which again, chime in if you can answer better than I can.
So we don't, National Grid / New England Power Company does not provide distribution services to customers in Vermont or New Hampshire. So this is a transmission project where we're providing a more reliable transmission system. The distribution companies, get the power from the transmission system via substations that step the voltage down. So there is, I believe, one Green Mountain Power Company feeder that comes out of the Wilder 34 or 20. I think it's a 34 kV yard. So it does provide power north of the dam to, I believe there's a small GMP substation up there. And then it provides power to Liberty Utilities, which are the other lines that cross the river by the dam, the shorter lines on the north side of the W149 line. So it will help make the system more reliable in providing power to those other substations, and then they ultimately provide power through the distribution companies to the residents.
Okay, thanks.
I like to refer to the transmission line as a highway, and then the distribution lines are just off ramps or on ramps. Yeah, exactly.
Anything else?
No hands on the line.
The last thing, again, just so you all are aware, because I know there's going to be a lot of questions that are going to come up from constituents, especially the closer to construction we get. We are probably going to be back here. We're also very accessible. We will plan to do mailings. We've already sent in a butter letter to anybody within 500 feet of the line around November. So everyone who is relatively nearby has gotten a piece of mail that says, hey, this is what's happening. So we'll continue to make sure that folks are kept in the loop. And as things progress, you all will be getting updates pretty regularly, especially once we get to construction again, so there are no surprises.
And if you have a town website, we would love if you had a space that you could put the link. So if anyone did want to know, or, needed an easy way to contact us.
Sure.
So one of my concerns with the project is the access to the site is via railroad crossings. We have two bridges that access the other side of the tracks. There is a way to bypass that and go ground level. But a concern I have is the weights that are going to be impacting, particularly the bridge that's crossing over the tracks. I don't know if anybody has looked into, I assume there's going to be some sizable equipment and some sizable structures that are going to cross over the bridges. And I don't know if anybody's thought ahead about crossing in a different lower down. There's an area to cross versus crossing those bridges with heavy equipment. Just concerned about our infrastructure that we have in town.
There have been lots of conversations about that. Josh, do you have an update on that?
So the equipment that we'd be bringing in there would be, wire reels, pulling equipment, bucket trucks. There is no plan to replace the structures on the Wilder side, so we would not need like a concrete truck. And we wouldn't be bringing in new steel structures. So I don't know how much we've reviewed that capacity of the bridge, but that we will definitely look into that.
So you're aware of the lower crossing that crosses the tracks instead of going over the bridge, correct?
I am not personally, no, but Len Parker, who's our O&M guy up in that area, we are in communication with him, so we will speak with him. He also worked at the dam formerly, so we have good resources available to check on that.
We just don't want to see our roads get destroyed.
Oh, absolutely. No. Well, they're going to be looking at all of these pieces, especially making sure whatever capacity vehicles are bringing over, the roadways can handle that.
I imagine they will. Anything else?
Oh, my favorite line is the dedicated project hotline.
Sure, yeah.
You will get a human being because it's connected to my cell phone. So if I don't answer it, please leave a message and I will call you back. So very accessible, but also I'll give everybody my cell phone if you don't already have it. So
great. All right, well, this has been very helpful, but to get the overview, and I know you mentioned maybe on our website we could put an announcement or any links necessary for this. We could put up the email and we'll basically the contact.
yeah, although that
That'd be
little
great.
bottom piece,
Yep.
feel free to copy and paste that. Absolutely.
Awesome.
There's not currently any updates on there, like I did go to the website the other day, and you can sign up for updates,
Yeah.
but there
Mhm.
aren't any like just posted updates, right?
Yeah, I think the only thing we have up there is just kind of the like, hey, this project is happening announcement. Because we are so far away.
Yeah.
I think once we are digging our heels into permitting and there's more really input from the communities, that'll be kind of the start of us like really reaching out and kind of making sure everybody knows where we are, and there'll be more communication. So we're still super early, I think, in the process. But yes, there will be like newsletters, especially when construction starts. Definitely recommend folks who live nearby to sign up for that, because we will be doing email updates.
All right, well, thanks very much for coming by.
Thank
Thank you for your time.
Okay,
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks everyone online and tuned in. So we're gonna take our usual 5-minute or so break, then we'll come back and assign committee liaisons and take care of the rest of the business of the meeting. So I'll see y'all back here a little before 1:45. Oh, and things to sign.
Things to sign over here.
Thank you for having us.
Yep. Well, we're back and our next item is, committee liaisons. Well, everyone last meeting got a list of the committees. There's some open committees. The ones that were served on by Ally, Rocket, and Dan. So those are open. I heard from Mary, who's not here. She'd like to stay on Parks and Rec, but she's willing to, be flexible and let other board members who want to be liaisons take on her other committees if people would like. Even if you're not a liaison, you're free to attend any and all of these meetings. I guess one question, we do have incumbent board members who have their assignments and whether they want to keep those or if they'd like to try something new. But otherwise, it's kind of open. We do have ones we have to assign, which are the open ones. So, I'll just throw it out there if people have interest in ones.
I did have interest in Parks and Rec.
Yep, okay.
If Mary doesn't mind, I would be appreciative if she would let me take that.
Sue wants Parks. All right. Anyone else just throwing out committees they're interested in?
Yeah, and I noted like 3 that I'm definitely open to however it shakes out, but 3 that are outgoing people that I was interested in are Energy Commission, the Tree Board, and then Resilient Hartford.
Okay. Those are all open.
Does anyone else want any of those?
Yeah, otherwise.
Nope. I'd be interested in Tree Board, but would be happy to let you have it, Ida.
Okay.
I'm also interested in housing and homelessness.
Okay, so housing, homelessness, and each Corey are ones where we ask you to fill out an application. So we'll go through that process, but seeing no objection to Ida's request, I'd be happy that we make those committee.
Are we supposed to have 3, or that's the expectation?
We usually have 3, and it just some people end up at other times taking like 4 if necessary. But, if you're happy with those 3, I think we can.
What are there others that you're interested in?
I think it's going to depend on how some other applications shake out.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. And if you really want design review committee, you're welcome to it. They do not meet that frequently, and I would be happy to give up the liaison position and just attend the meeting sometimes. If I think they basically meet when applications are or requests are made. I guess they're applications, and it's only for the design review projects in the design review district. So just in the downtown, it's not the whole town. So they're sort of an advisory group to the planning commission. For example, like when the new apartment building 132 South Main was being built and the village retirement, all those things, like it went before the design review committee for sort of aesthetic. Like they have some I don't know if they're statutory, but they have some requirements of elements that they can look for and advise on in terms of what do you call that? Like the scale and the density and colors and things like that. And so they will basically, like, they can't disapprove an application, but they can make recommendations to the planning commission based on their so anyway, I'm sure you did your own research, but that's kind of what they do. Yeah, so I'd be happy to give that up, although I don't know that I am going to put an application for H. Corey, which I think I've missed the deadline to get it on the March 19th agenda, but I'll try to get it in for the following one.
Okay, I believe Mary is applied.
Yeah, I think she's gonna be on the 19th agenda for that.
Okay. I think Lanny,
I will take historic preservation and zoning board of adjustment, which I had last time.
So historic preservation, that's new for you, but zoning board would be a continuation.
Yeah, I have no desire to be on H Corey again.
Okay.
And I will take HCC, Hartford Community Coalition.
Hartford Community Coalition. That's one you have already, right?
Correct.
Okay. So
That's a question.
yeah, go ahead.
the aquatic center
Yeah,
has nothing as something you have to do.
yeah.
And since Joe is the reason I'm sitting here, I'd like a chance to mess with him a little.
All right. So Sue has gratefully stepped up for the aquatic center oversight.
It's a really.
I'm also there 3 times a week.
Yeah,
For
there you
swim
go.
class,
Perfect.
so, I'll just check in and say,
You know what, I think because is Dan on the board of VIII? I think that he basically would go to the board, but anyway, we never had any reports or any formal.
Yeah.
I think it's sort of a slightly defunct liaison position.
Well, Sue can breathe new life into it.
right, like fire,
And it's not
yeah.
Exactly. So I'm a liaison to the sister cities, school board. School board has alternates. Mary said she'd be happy to stay as first alternate. I don't know, Kim, if you want to stay as second alternate.
Someone else wants
The other one I'm on, the climate action steering team, is actually a pretty interesting one. Doesn't always work for my schedule on Wednesdays at 5, but it's like a subcommittee of the Energy Commission. So it's a pretty interesting committee if you're interested in like our plans for climate change, energy in the town of Hartford. I'm happy to stay on it. But if someone has that as an interest, I'd be happy to to let them take that.
I mean, I'm interested in it, but if people are okay with me doing the general energy commission one, then I feel like I'll be connected enough.
Yeah, you will be, and I believe that Dana writes minutes for that one that are generally in our packet, so it's not like a huge commitment. I'm happy to stay on that one. What else do we have? So the Hartford business revolving loan is open. We need someone for that.
Yeah, I would take that.
Okay, and that's a quarterly,
Yeah,
so, all right, so Sue would do revolving loan fund. So Brandon, we've got the design review committee, and you're gonna apply for housing and homelessness, it sounded like. What else is on there that we don't have
I would
someone
like
for?
to keep planning commission unless anyone would like it.
Okay.
And so that would leave me with just planning commission, and if I'm approved for H Quarry, and then the alternate to the school board, which is
Okay.
good with me and those two.
That sounds fine. I'm just trying to see if there are any that we haven't filled that we need to fill.
So community resilience would be Ida.
Yeah.
Conservation commission, is that still Mary?
I think Mary, if we want to give Sue Parks and Rec, then I think we should keep Mary's other assignments.
I mean, it sounded like Mary wanted to keep Parks and Rec, so I think
That's true.
if that could be a negotiation, I don't know if we should do that in her absence unless you wanna.
Okay, we'll leave that one open, because if she's not here, she and Sue can talk about it.
And I mean, the other way we could do it, because we did create this policy for assigning liaisons, because we had issues with more than one people wanting a position last year. So if there are 2 people that want that, then
You take it outside.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, yeah.
I don't want it that much.
There is a process.
I'm so used to writing large checks to them every year, just so I kind of know more about what they're doing.
I'm happy to wait on that one, so you and Mary have a chance to discuss. But I think we're pretty close to the other assignments, as we speak. So Ida would be Energy Commission, Tree Board, Resilient Hartford. Brandon, Design Review Committee, and is going to apply for housing and homelessness. Lanny would pick up historic preservation and also keep Zoning Board of Adjustment and the Community Coalition. I would keep Climate Action Steering Team, Sister Cities, School Board, and then Kim.
I don't get my disconnect.
Kim, you would be applying for H Quarry and keeping Planning Commission and also be an alternate for the school board. Sue's taking Aquatic Center and revolving loan fund. And we'll see about Parks and Rec. We'll just hold off on that one. Is there any?
Town and school meetings.
Oh, yeah, town and school meeting committee. I think that's the only one left. So that's the committee that puts on our candidates night, budget night, stuff like they go and kind of set up the event spaces. So they don't really meet until we're like.
What do they meet? When do they meet? When they do meet?
I don't know if they have a set schedule. They only meet at that time of year during our election cycle, I think, or maybe a little bit before.
It was to generate the postcard of upcoming town
Yeah.
meeting events, so probably November-ish.
Yeah, I think that's when they started up. I don't know that they. have
Are they,
set-
well, they're gonna be busy this year because we have we have 2 more meetings.
Yeah.
We're gonna attend, so, but I'm not sure what nights they meet on. That's the difficulty is that everybody meets on Wednesday.
A lot of them, yeah.
And
They
there's only
met-
so many things you can do in a matter of an hour.
Yeah.
They seem fairly flexible, town school meeting committee to when they meet.
And it's a small enough group, I think 4 or 5
Yeah,
people.
it's like 4 or 5 people, so
This
someone who
year they
takes
met on
that.
a Wednesday, on a Monday, and like their 2024 meetings have not all been on the same day, so could be subject to.
I'll take it as long as they're not on a, Tuesday.
I think they were like, I remember when we presented before them, John, like they were kind of like, does this date work for
Yes.
everyone, right?
Yeah.
So I think they're flexible.
I'll take it. I'll take
Okay,
it.
so we'll give Lanny.
That'll give me 4.
Town school meeting committee. Does that fill all our liaison assignments?
I
Did
think
somebody
subject-
take the
subject to
energy?
Mary and
Yep.
Sue talking.
You like to
Somebody took
share the
energy,
committees.
took
now,
energy.
or-
I
I'm
was
hoping to
wondering,
get
the,
Mike's list.
the tree board, it just says Wednesday. I assume it's not every Wednesday,
No,
No,
No.
but we don't know which.
I'll pull up their
Okay.
agendas.
They might be just a monthly meeting, actually.
You're gonna make a new list, right?
Yeah.
yeah, I might ask you for whatever you've got, just to double check against.
Okay, yep. So I got sister cities, school
No, I
board.
mean, your list, when
Oh,
you've been taking notes.
Yeah, okay.
So if you
Yeah.
give that to me, that'd be great.
Yeah,
They do-
absolutely.
Tree board meets on Tuesdays, because I remember Dan would often report and say, let me see what time they meet. Sorry to interrupt. 5 o'clock, so you could do tree board and then hop over here, but you could also just read the minutes, talk to the people and report. Like Dan would often have to miss those meetings and would just give us an update. But looks like 5 o'clock on Tuesdays. Not every, I think once a month.
So that's our mistake, that it was Wednesday listed here.
For tree board, let me just double check, so. February 20th was Tuesday and January 20.
The grid I got from Lana, with all the blanks for 2024 indicates Wednesday.
Well, they also met on a Thursday, so.
Remember as liaison, like
You don't
you're there to be in
It was only
touch,
once a month, at
essentially.
least.
Yeah.
You're kind of like a point of contact if you don't go to every meeting, so they, you keep in touch.
Okay.
That's about it. So, if you have to miss a meeting because of the schedule or something, that happens. Okay. I think we've got our assignments.
We'll know when you send the list.
Yeah.
Yes,
Absolutely.
we'll collaborate, we'll
Mhm.
circulate, and then people can raise their hand that we missed something.
Yeah, that sounds great. Okay, our next item is to ratify the chair's approval of the payroll ending 3/2/2024, the AP manifest 3/1/2024, and 3/7/2024 on March 6, 2024. So I had to sign these.
We had a long time between meetings, and
Yeah.
usually because we meet every 2 weeks, it's perfect to approve payroll and accounts payable, but we had a gap because of the election. And so the board authorized Mike to sign, knowing that we'd have to come back and ratify his signatures.
So I think it's just a motion to, well, as it says, to ratify the approval. Anyone wants to make a motion? Okay.
Mr. Chair, I move that the select board ratify the chair's approval of payroll ending March 2nd, 2024, AP manifests of March 1st and March 7th, 2024, which was done on March 6th, 2024.
Second?
Second.
We have a second from Ida. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so the ayes have it. All right, so commission reports and new members. you will not have any commission reports tonight because we just got you your committee assignments. But Kim, do you have anything?
Yes, I do. And like I mentioned earlier, I sent this email to Lana and John so that it's in the minutes, so she doesn't have to listen to me. The Plan Commission met last night on March 11th and were presented with a sketch plan review from the Coolidge Block redevelopment by David Briggs. Matt Osborne was approved unanimously as the acting zoning administrator by the Planning Commission. And following the Planning Commission meeting, the Town Plan Steering Committee met to kick off the update of the economic development chapter of the town plan. The group was introduced to the Better Cities team members who have been contracted with to facilitate the chapter update and discuss the overall approach to the project. There's a community forum on economic development on Thursday, March 14th at the Bugby Senior Center beginning at 6 p.m. All are encouraged to attend.
It's Kim. Lane, do you have any commission reports?
I have nothing.
Okay, I don't have anything either. So our next item is the consent agenda, just approving the meeting minutes, I believe.
And the meeting dates.
And the meeting dates. So I'll take the motion for that. Kim, you want to check?
Mr. Chair, I move that the select board approve the AP manifest of March 1st.
Oh, just the meeting minutes.
Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry, yeah.
And the
did
next
that
meetings.
already.
No, we ratified, yeah, because okay, so we approve the meeting minutes of February 2024 and March 7th, 2024, and select board meetings of April 2nd, April 16, and April 30th, 2024.
Okay, do I have a second?
And we've got one coming next week on the 19th as well.
Oh, and but do we have the town, we need to do the March 27th, should we do that now as well, the workshop?
The workshop, if you'd like, you can amend it, sure.
Like add to approve select board meeting dates, the.
Can I make a point of order? I was not on the board for these two meetings. I can't approve the minutes. Should we do those separately? Okay,
Sure.
because otherwise 3 of us are going to have to abstain.
That's right,
Then
in
we're not
Mary's
even-
absence,
Yeah,
that can be a problem, yeah.
Yeah,
so we're not gonna be able to pass that.
Yeah,
yeah.
okay, good point. We could do the
Okay.
March 7th one, because we're all here for that. As the organizational meeting.
Oh, the organization, okay, but not 220.
Okay, so let's amend that for March 7th and then,
May I withdraw my motion and make a new one?
sure.
Sorry, Lana. Okay. Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the meeting minutes of March 7th, 2024, and approve select board meeting dates of March 27th for select board workshop, April 2nd, April 16, and April 30, 2024.
Along with the select board meeting of March 19th, which is coming up next week.
Is that not already approved? That's already approved.
It's already approved, but I guess it's on the list, so I'm sorry, I was trying to be. It's comprehensive.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
So,
We have a second from.
Second from Sue.
All those in favor say aye.
aye.
Opposed? Okay. All right, last thing tonight, looks like the executive session. So there are 2 motions that are necessary to go into executive session, and you should have them in the packet that was given to you. So I will take.
Mr. Chairman,
Yep.
I move to find that there are legal matters involving the town and premature general public knowledge would clearly place the town and or persons at a substantial disadvantage.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I will second.
We have a second from Kim. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Mr. Chair,
Motion 2, go ahead, Lane.
I move that the select board go into executive session to discuss pending civil litigation and attorney-client communications made for the purpose of providing professional legal services as set forth in VSA 3133A1, E, and F.
Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a second from Sue. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Okay, we're going into executive session, which we do across the hall in room 2. I will take a motion.
I move that we exit executive session at 8:29.
I have a second.
Second.
Okay, I think I did that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, we're out of executive session. We did not take any action. I will take a motion to adjourn. Sue,
Motion to adjourn.
do we have a second?
I will
We
second.
have a second from Kim. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, thanks, everybody.
Thank you.